Hey everyone, what's up? You're listening to Clocked In, Checked Out. This is where corporate meets chaos, burnout gets a mic, and adulting gets dragged. I'm Joseph Singh, and whether you're thriving, surviving, spiraling in a Slack thread, welcome. This is real talk, raw laughs, and you know how much I like raw and zero PTO. Because let's be real, my out of office reply right now in this moment says spiritually unavailable. So don't even email me. This podcast reflects my personal experience on navigating a layoff and how it helped me grow. It's not a takedown. I'm not here to talk any bad things or spill any tea. It's a healing arc. On today's episode, that's really called Not the Type of Laid I Was Looking For, because let's be real, it wasn't. We're going to be talking about layoffs, burnout, and what it really means to come undone professionally and personally. Obviously, with a cocktail in hand. And speaking of cocktail, today's drink is called the pink slip because that's what you get when you get laid off. It's a little bit of gin, simple syrup, a little cranberry juice, a splash of lemon juice, and a whole lot of baggage. I'm going to need a few of these to really get through this entire episode. So, probably on my second one, and we'll see how this goes. Basically, this cocktail is what you get if your severance package came with a cocktail shaker. I know many of you guys are wondering why I'm starting a podcast. I thought the exact same thing. Like, why am I starting a podcast, right? Well, here's why. I got laid off. I wasn't ghosted. I wasn't dumped. I was laid off, which in 2025, it's just a corporate version of it's not you, it's budget cuts. Which, to be honest, was not the type of laid I was manifesting in the cards for 2025. But here I am, me, my chair, a mic, you, and my cocktail. So we're going to be in this together. My layoff felt a little abrupt. A Teams call that caught me completely off guard. It left me rattled and weirdly heartbroken in a way I didn't expect. But you know that I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, and in Taylor Swift words, it's basically, I can do it with a broken heart, which is one of my favorite songs. So it's pretty fitting for this whole entire podcast. So basically, everyone, welcome to Clocked In, Checked Out, the podcast for anyone who is ready to turn burnout into breakthroughs and redefine success on their own terms. This podcast is going to be for anyone who's ever felt let down by a job, confused by a situationship, caught off guard by a we need to talk text that happens quite often to me, or quietly grieved a friendship that faded faster than your last hinge match. You know, the one you matched, messaged, and then never heard from again, kind of like your last one on one. Maybe you've been ghosted by your boss, ignored by HR, or had more chemistry with the barista than your last date. I made this space for us, the ones who gave too much, cared too much, and still got left on red. Whether it was a toxic ex or that flaky friend who only calls when they need something, I needed a space where I did not have to filter my thoughts or my thirst, where I could be petty and profound, where I could spiral, vent, laugh, cry, and maybe overshare just a little too much, and where we could talk about life without pretending we don't low key want to make out with a barista just for attention. But let me be clear, crystal clear. This podcast is not about dragging anyone down. I am not here to badmouth a former employer or talk down to anyone. What you're about to hear is my story, my experience, my truth, and my opinion. If it resonates, amazing. If it's gonna ruffle a few feathers, well, maybe those fucking feathers need a little shaken. Because from what I hear, some things have already been shaken up. But before I get too deep into the mess, because trust, we're about to get really messy. You might be thinking, who the fuck is this person talking on this mic right now? And why should I care? Let me give you the rundown. resume is going to be optional, but your trauma is going to be included. Because LinkedIn does not have a section for any emotional damage quite yet. I am Joseph Singh, your unfiltered bestie, the coworker who says what everyone is thinking, and the real reason why Teams has a do not disturb mode and a proud member of the over it but still showing up club. Like an ex who really refuses to return your hoodie. I've been in the corporate world for about 15 years. Fashion, been there. Beauty, done that. I've seen it all. I've been celebrated. I've won awards. I've been in magazines. I have dressed celebrities in and out. But I've also felt the weight of the toxic dynamics and unrealistic demands in a workplace, and not the kind we all love and want. I'm not here talking about some BDSM situation with a safe word and a leather whip that's going to slap me on my back. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind that leaves you drained and questioning your worth. I know a lot of you guys are probably like, oh my God, Joseph, I know exactly what you're saying. I've worked in corporate long enough to master the art of staying polished under pressure, keeping it cute on mute, and somehow making circle back sound charming. I was the one who was known to say, you know what? I'm going to just say it in every meeting because I knew what people were thinking. And I've said it many times over and over and over again. I said yes to every quick sync and every extra ask like it was a bad Tinder date, red flags and all. I have worked 15, 16-hour days taking on tasks other people shoved aside because I became the catch-all. And let me just like tell you guys right now, that's not the type of shit I wanted to catch. We all know what I wanted to catch, but we're going to get to that later. I always gave strong, always available energy, which is hot in dating but dangerous in corporate. Let's just say the work kept coming and I kept taking it. My safe word was slack it down. Was I emotionally available for my job? Maybe, maybe not. But I still showed up like a toxic situationship, never messy, never late, but always looking hot. So, like, now that everyone here knows who I am and why Teams probably misses my dramatic pause and mute button energy, let's talk about the moment that really broke the camel's back. And maybe just my spirit a little bit. So grab your beverage, grab some tissues, because I know we've all been there, babes. Or like at least pretend to wipe your tears with a PTO request that you never got approved but you still took. Let's talk about the moment that changed everything. It was 9 a.m. on a Thursday. I have just crushed a nice 2 hour workout. My endorphins are high, and literally my glutes are tighter than my budget. But right now, I feel like my budget is tighter than my glutes. I'm literally feeling really good. I've got a nice to do list with more chaos than a group chat. And somehow I'm sitting there doing eight people's jobs on like one salary. I'm, just finished the gym in leggings, a fancy tee, and pure vibes. We work remote, so no one's gonna see me from waist down unless I stand up, and trust me, I won't. Then, like, I got this private calendar invite. No attendees visible. That's basically corporate for like brace yourself. But something about that invite hit differently. Private meeting. No attendees visible. That's usually not a great sign in the corporate world. It felt ominous, like a breakup text in calendar form. And you already know what that means. Someone's about to get fucked, and for once, it was not the type of fucking I was hoping for. There was no candles, no playlist, no safe word. The kind of ghosting that it hits harder than a sneaky link who didn't even bring wine. Just click to join. So, like, I joined the call, and suddenly it felt like the energy in the room dropped 20 degrees, and that's when my gut dropped. All that was missing was Adele playing softly in the background. It was truly that feeling that like your stomach hits your pelvis. Your brain's doing gymnastics. I can't even do a cartwheel, and you're mentally looking for like an escape route that doesn't really exist. It kind of felt like a breakup. Not the kind with tears and closure, but the kind where you're like left staring at the Zoom screen wondering what the fuck just happened. It was business. I get it, but it still hurt. There was no, we're going in a different direction. But if they had said that, I would have said, me too, babe, preferably doggy style. Leading up to it, I hadn't received any negative feedback. So this really caught me off guard. And maybe that's why it hit so fucking hard. I felt safe until I suddenly wasn't. It not only shook my trust, but it left me questioning a lot of things. I knew it wasn't like a personal decision nor performance related because I never got a bad review. And while I understand business and business, I could not help but feel reduced to a line item. That's what really stung. I gave so much. I gave my energy, my best ideas, my damn personality. And I'm not going to lie to you, this personality is premium quality. It felt like I just disappeared overnight. Like my contributions, my vibe, my presence just gone. Looking back, I started noticing some shifts. Projects started to like move around. There was less visibility, that kind of thing. At that time, I brushed it off. But in hindsight, when I look at it again, I think I sensed something was shifting. I started to feel a little faded out, like I was still there but not really. Kind of like a slow ghosting, but like corporate style. And yeah, it happened a couple of weeks after my birthday. Was it a total coincidence? Maybe, but it did add an extra emotional punch, like life's weird way of a timing for like a plot twist. And when it finally happened, there was no warning, no heads up, just in. Dry, messy, and emotionally reckless. I didn't say a damn thing on that call except thanks. And then I hung up. Then it hit me really, really hard. Spiral started instantly. How am I going to pay my mortgage? How long can my savings last? How long can I afford to be jobless? Will I need to ask for help? How can I put food on the table? I immediately went into survival mode because that's the type of person I am. When you take something away from me, I'm immediately going to be like, how am I going to put that back in my life? I wasn't just thinking about myself. I immediately shifted, like I said, into survival mode, thinking about my family, my responsibilities. Will my parents be disappointed? Will my friends be disappointed? The people who rely on me both emotionally and financially. That fear was louder than the layoff itself because when your livelihood gets pulled out from you, from under you, your brain doesn't care about corporate lingo or polished messages. It just screams, how are you going to make it? But here's the truth. It turned out to be the reset that I didn't know I was ready for. The cord was cut, the chapter was closed, and in that silence, something new started. I really didn't lose myself. I finally made a space to find myself again. But here's where I want to shift the tone. Because, yeah, it hurt. Being laid off fucking hurts. But I also see it from both sides now. I know anyone who's been laid off is probably thinking about themselves. Layoffs happen. Layoffs are happening everywhere right now to incredibly talented and dedicated people. It's not always about who did something wrong, it's about cost, strategy, and timing. Hard decisions have to be made, especially in uncertain economies. I may not love how it went down, but I can acknowledge that it wasn't personal, it was systematic. That call, it shook me. But it also reminded me I'm not immune, I'm not irreplaceable, and that realization, while humbling, it also gave me clarity. It forced me to pause, to breathe, to reassess what I want, what I need, and who I am outside of a job title or a Slack thread. A lot of people have told me that take this time for yourself, reevaluate what you want, what you need, and take this time because you've worked so hard. That's what I've been doing. And to be honest, the truth is, where I was laid off from, I loved working there. I really did. I believed in the work. I loved the creative aspect. I was really proud of the company and I was really proud of being a part of it. It was amazing to see what we were doing. And more than anything, I love the people that I work with. We built something meaningful. We laughed. We shared wild deadlines. No, something's always due around the corner. But we also shared wilder ideas. And that's what I missed. But I've also come out stronger, clearer, better boundaries. This layoff didn't just gut me, it grew me. It taught me that my worth isn't tied to a paycheck and that burnout isn't a badge of honor and that no role, no matter how glamorous or rewarding, is worth sacrificing your whole self for. And while I'm still looking for my next dream job, I know deep down inside that something great is going to come along soon. It's been a couple of months, I'm still looking. I'm not rushing it, I'm not settling. I'm just staying open to the idea that my best chapter of my career hasn't been written yet. I may not know the title of my next role, but I know it's got my name on it. And as hard as it was, to be honest, I miss it sometimes. I miss the people who I work with, the wild deadlines, the fun, crazy, and even the ridiculousness that comes with corporate life. But when I look back at it, what I'm mostly grateful for are the friendships that I made, real ones. The kind where they're still checking in on how I'm doing, cheering each other on, and watching each other's journey unfold, layoff or not. And that kind of connection doesn't get cut with a budget. And now I'm rebuilding, reclaiming, and reinventing myself, but also updating my LinkedIn bio like it's a dating app. Emotionally unemployed, but available for full time roles and a great coffee. Because sometimes being laid off isn't the end of your story, it's the plot twist that sets you free. So, to anyone listening, which I hope you're really listening to me right now, who has been laid off or who feels like the ground is shifting beneath them, you are not alone. You're not broken, and you're definitely not done. You're evolving just like me. And, honestly, to stop pretending I was okay when I was absolutely not okay, but still kind of hot about it. Turns out you can be unemployed and still irresistible. Severance doesn't kill your sex appeal. I know that was a lot what I just said, but if you're still with me, I love you already. But listen, this is not going to be just trauma dumping for sport. There's a reason why there's a mic in front of me. I do like a mic in front of me because I can hit some Mariah Carey high notes. We're going to get into that whole later. Let me tell you why this podcast had to happen. Let's get real for a second. This podcast was not born out of boredom. And it sure as hell wasn't born from a place of, let me add another thing to my LinkedIn skills. No, ma'am. This came from rock bottom. Like face down, cheeks to the desk, post layoff emotional spiral, kind of rock bottom. But also, I don't mind someone slamming my cheeks to the desk. I needed a space to really process, to vent, to scream, cry, into a void. And honestly, to stop pretending I was okay when I was absolutely not, but still kind of hot about it. Because in the last 3 months, I've probably looked the best I have done in the last 3 years. I spent 15 years, 15 in the beauty industry, in education, in product, in sales, building brands and training and pouring myself into every fucking launch and strategy session. Again, I loved what I did. I was a person that you would call on that needed a pitch polished, the vibe set, or the energy in a room turned up. I would take a flight within a 24-hour notice to help a company out. That's the type of person I am because I enjoy what I do. But you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to pour myself back into it. I was constantly on, polished, professional. I survived entire eras of corporate chaos with nothing but thinning hair, iced coffee, and blind optimism. But instead of that, iced coffee, maybe I would have a cocktail in hand. But when I finally got laid off, it didn't just shake my finances, it cracked my identity because I had become my job, the overachiever, the go to, the people pleaser, the one who could always handle more. And when they cut me loose, I had to ask myself, who am I when I'm not producing, not pitching, not proving myself in every damn meeting? That question cracked me open. So this podcast, it's not just content, it's a lifeline, a reclamation of voice, worth, and clarity. It's where we talk about the stuff that no one puts in performance reviews. The burnout, the bias, the breakdowns between meeting. It's for people who've been burned out but still logging on with fake smiles. For the folks who get excited about PTO like it's parole. For anyone who's tried to heal from corporate trauma with a therapist and a martini and a one night stand all in the same week. That's a lot. This is where we talk about the shit that gets swept under the professionalism rug, the burnout, the bias, the breakdowns between meetings, the times we wanted to quit but didn't because we needed a paycheck, the visa, the validation, or just didn't want to disappoint anyone. I don't like disappointing anyone. I want this to feel like a group chat you can actually trust. No check ins, no corporate polish, just me, my mic, a cocktail, and a story that deserves to be told honestly. And while we're here, let's make a space for joy too. Let's celebrate the freedom of being unemployed and unbothered, the tiny wins, the unhinged texts, the soft mornings where we're not rushing to prove anything to anyone. This podcast is the emotional exfoliant you did not know you needed. The inner monologue of a millennial who's done being polite about late stage capitalism and workplace trauma. I'm here to remind you you can be laid off and still valuable. You can be spiraling and still hilarious. You can be healing and horny at the same damn time. So, yeah, that's why this podcast exists. This is clocked in, checked out. A soft place to land for the over it, the unbothered, and the gloriously unhinged. Because I needed a space to feel human again. And I bet you did too. But I'm still manifesting a six-figure sugar daddy who thinks my resume is hot and my trauma's adorable. We all know adulthood is a scam. Work is a cult. And dating is unpaid emotional labor with no PTO. This podcast is my soft launch into full time chaos and unbothered energy. We're unpacking all the messy, hilarious, painfully relatable shit that nobody taught us how to navigate. Because adulting is fucked up. But we're doing it with hot takes and a side of delusion. And don't worry, this is not just me screaming into the void, because I do want to kind of sort of do that, but I'm not going to do that. We'll have guest rants, listener call-ins, and maybe even a therapist on speed dial. The goal? Laugh through the breakdowns, validate the burnout, and remind you that you are not the only one crying on mute during a Zoom call. So, in the next coming season and the next coming episodes, we will be talking about office bestie breakups, why your boss should never follow you on Instagram, delusional dating diaries, toxic productivity culture, and whether or not soft launching your depression via Instagram stories counts as emotional intelligence. So, like, what's the vibe? Expect the content to be like me, slightly unhinged, weirdly well spoken, and always just a little too flirty, little too witted, because we're about to have fun. But in all seriousness, if your love life has got you laid off like your last paycheck, or if you've ever hit a join meeting just to mute yourself and text your ex, this podcast is for you. Subscribe, rate, and leave a review because being unemployed is expensive. And I'm trying to become someone's favorite tax write off. So, Daddy, if you're listening, call me or DM me. I'm waiting for you. Got a messy corporate horror story? A situationship saga? Dating across the world? Friendship drama that deserves its own HR report? Email me at clockedincheckedoutpod@gmail.com or slide into my DMs on Instagram. Clockedincheckedoutpod. Tell me everything. I want to know your situationship, who you're seeing across the globe, and any other things at the gym that make you feel weird. If you want to stay anonymous, we can totally make that happen. I've got fake names locked and loaded. And until next time, stay messy, stay petty, and clock out with class. I'm Joseph Singh, and I'll see you soon.